Hey everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations. And you're with Simon today, and I'm really excited to be doing another chart of the day experience. Actually, it's a subscriber chart, but you know, it's the chart of the day for this person at least. So yes, we're doing another subscriber chart, and I'm really excited to be talking about a Pluto second house energy today. So for those of you that are following this series and you're getting a lot out of this experience, I appreciate your time and your attention. And if you feel that you've got anything to contribute to what you're seeing, please feel free to write in the comments, okay? I'm sure the person that's having their chart reading will be super happy to hear more from other people as well. Okay, so of course, we are doing this from an evolutionary astrology perspective, and we are learning the nature of how the soul comes into this lifetime, experiences their journey, and then basically allows themselves to continue the nature of the desires, right? So Pluto in the third house of the astrology chart, actually, sorry, it's so close to the second, is sitting, and it's on top of the North Node, right? Now, we've had one of these charts before where Pluto and the North Node are sitting together. I think we've had 2 or 3. So we know that when Pluto and the North Node are together, this is an experience where the soul comes into this lifetime and says, whatever I've been doing before, I'm going to continue doing it in this lifetime as an essential part of my empowerment. Whatever I've been doing before, I'm going to continue to do in this lifetime as an essential part of my evolution. So firstly, Pluto in the third, as we know in the previous subscriber chart that we just, subscriber chart that we just had, my brain's gone all funny now because it doesn't want to do the same mistake again, says that we are, or Pluto in the third, we are learning about life, okay, through the context of intellectual organization, okay? We're learning about how the phenomena of reality is existing, and how do we interrelate with that, with our minds, with our brains, right? So language is one of the manifestations of a Gemini function, of a Pluto in the third house. How do we communicate? And I often joke with my students when I teach them about the Gemini archetype. I say, let's do an experiment, okay? I'd like whoever the person is to communicate to us your sort of what is happening in front of you, what type of objects are happening in front of you, but you're not allowed to use any words. And for about 30 seconds, everybody's silent, and the person that's been put on the spot, unfortunately, gets all red and blushed up. And it's because we recognize in that moment how important we need this third house Gemini archetype, how communication is an essential part of connection. Now, the funny thing, or the paradox of this, is that we can have language, which is identification of objects, which allows connection. But then we also have emotional connection as well, in which we don't need words, because we can simply just be with emotion, and emotion transcribes through just sensations. And so it's not entirely incorrect to say that we can't communicate without language, but it definitely removes a lot of confusion in the world that we live in today. And then again, paradoxically, it creates confusion as well, because what does that mean to this person, or what does that mean to that person? And it's in the wisdom of what I've just done with you right now that the Pluto third house dynamic exists. Is that because of diversity, because of the nature in which we can identify anything as anything, we can also be deeply confused with everything. And so the struggle with the Pluto third house is, okay, if that fact is over there and that fact is over there, but if you had to put those two pieces of information in that third context, then it becomes irrelevant. And it's like, yes, that's correct. Everything has context. And so the Pluto third house soul comes into this lifetime learning about the different facts and opinions and perceptions, but the evolution is, how do I align myself with a truth that is uniquely my own, right? And So this is the story, right? This is the dynamic of what is my personal truth. And you can see here with the nodes being in Virgo Pisces and with the ninth house, third house axis, and the south node being in the ninth house, of course, in Pisces, we can see here that this is a dynamic of, okay, well, in the past, I've been aligning myself, right? Aligning myself, not south node, with certain cosmologies, belief systems, ideas, perspectives, certain truths of all natures, right? Ninth house, all the different cosmologies. And the Neptune says, I'm unifying this. It's like it's all the different perspectives. And so I've been aligning myself with all these different perspectives, but I've come to a realization that every single truth or every single perception comes from some source. And in this lifetime, and probably the most recent lifetime, I want to understand the source of each truth at its core level. And how do I come to this conclusion? It's because the planetary ruler of the south node, of course, is Neptune, and that sits in Scorpio. And it says, I want to get to the core. I want to get to the depths of what this truth is about. But I'm very open to learning about the multiple ways in which different truths can exist. So I might go and explore Buddhism. I might go and explore numerology. I might go and explore astrology. But what are they really trying to say at the core of it? What is their destiny? What is the purpose behind each of it? So why do I put in the word purpose and destiny? It's because you have Neptune in your fifth house, along with Mercury and along with Venus, right? And you can see here that this whole entire dynamic of Mercury and Venus and Neptune is aligning one's truth and communicating one's truth at a pure level. And this is about what values you have, right? Venus being the values, Mercury being about the communication, Neptune being about the destiny, the fulfillment. The whole entire fifth house is about the fulfillment, the purpose. And the Neptune says this is meaning. So you could actually cycle through lives, okay, or experiences in which you come to some revelation about a certain perspective of truth, and you communicate that, and at some point you lose the purpose in it, you lose the meaning in it. It says, okay, I'm done with that right now. And then you experience maybe a disillusionment or a loss of meaning, and then you need to go through the process of letting go, Scorpio, and releasing that stuff. And then you find something new and you completely emerge with it. You completely align with that process. And it provides you with deep fulfillment again. And you feel like you're on a truth, you feel like you can communicate, and then the cycle ends, and you're consistently going through these cycles of meaning, purpose, and destiny, and then letting that go, and then integrating it back into your life. And to me, this is what this karmic cycle has is about at the core of it. You know, there's many stories that you can see in this chart that says things like, you know, you've got Mars in Cancer in the 12th, in opposition to Saturn in the 6th house in Capricorn. Now, Capricorn and Saturn is the same archetype, and the archetype of the 6th house, Virgo, is about integration, just as it is with the Pluto and the North Node being ruled by the constellation Virgo. There's a lot of integration here. Okay, now Mars in the opposite side says, well, I like to integrate, but every single time I find integration, it comes through having to dissolve a sense of identity, Mars in Cancer, or should I say 12th house Cancer. And my desire keeps on pushing the envelope and saying, okay, that's how I identified with that. I'm done with that. I'm integrated this deep understanding. And now I'm on to the next thing. And sometimes it feels like integration means letting go versus actually embodying, right? So I'm interested to hear how you actually relate to that dynamic over there and what your personal experience is like. Because when you look at Uranus sitting in your second house, and you look at the sun sitting in your fourth house in Libra, the planetary ruler of your Uranus is the sun, right? The sun is the ruler of Leo. And you have your sun sign sitting in the constellation Libra. And this is all about, how do I integrate my value? How do I emotionally identify with this inner sense of self, second house, emotionally identify, fourth house, with this ever-changing truth And so the Uranus is actually pulling you out and saying, here you're deconditioning consistently from the destiny, the purpose that you once related to regarding a search for truth that no longer has any meaning for you anymore. And as you progressively do that, you see the wisdom in your cycle, which is, that was a cool sense of truth. Okay, I'll let that go right now because I'm no longer needing that, but here's the wisdom I gained, right? So if I met you and I was talking to you for a year, I'd probably call you the wise one with the tendency to go, sometimes I don't like letting go. Cool. All right, well, I hope that you got something of value out of this today, and I'm super interested to hear your thoughts on this reading. And for those of you that are watching on YouTube, thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.